11:47 a.m. Yeysk Air Base. Nestled along the frozen edge of the Sea of Azov, the temperature is bone-chilling, but the geopolitical situation is about to reach the boiling point. Sitting proudly on the concrete like a bloated whale is the IL-38 Newton Sea Dragon, the single most valuable anti-submarine asset Russia has left in the Black Sea, its spine bristling with the top-secret NV-9 ELINT pod. But don't blink, because the countdown to a national embarrassment has already started. Inbound at low altitude, screaming over the tree line, is not a stealth fighter, but a Ukrainian Ludi drone that sounds like an angry jet turbine. Time to impact. 3 seconds. 2, 1. Snap. The airburst warhead detonates exactly 20 feet above the fuselage, not creating a crater, but unleashing a downward cone of high-velocity shrapnel that turns the aircraft's $100 million electronic brain into expensive scrap metal before the fuel tanks even catch fire. If you think this was a random hit, then you haven't been paying attention to the lethal evolution of Ukrainian tactics, because the Russians had a perfect trap waiting for this moment. They had acoustic sensors, they had Tor M2 missiles, and they even had a bizarre Frankenstein interceptor drone held together with duct tape and prayers. Yet, in the blink of an eye, the pride of Putin's fleet was just effectively lobotomized without ever leaving the ground. Stay focused, folks, because how a cheap drone outsmarted a multi-layered defense system is a story of arrogance versus algorithm that you need to see to believe. Let's look at the Russian steel dome protecting the coast of Krasnodar. On paper, it looks like an impenetrable wall designed to swat flies. Dotted around the quiet village of Stuturovskaya, high atop commercial cell towers, sit thousands of acoustic sensors. These little ears are creating a 3D sound map of the sky, hunting for the noisy 85-decibel roar of the Ukrainian jet engine. They feed data directly to the Tor M2 Gauntlet, a $25 million rolling fortress of destruction capable of tracking 48 targets simultaneously. It is supposed to be the ultimate shield, the pride of the Russian defense industry. But here's the twist that makes this setup truly bizarre. Because they are running out of real missiles, Russian engineers have gone full Mad Max. Enter the Frankenstein Interceptor. Imagine a slow, clumsy Giran-2 suicide drone. But instead of a warhead, they have bolted a shoulder-fired 9K 333 Verba missile to its wing, using little more than aluminum brackets and hope. It is an ugly, chugging abomination of engineering. A prop-driven drone hunting a jet-powered drone. It sounds like a bad joke, but for a pilot, it creates a terrifying, unpredictable minefield in the sky. To the average observer, this multi-layered trap looks impossible to survive. But stay with me, because while Goliath was busy taping missiles to mopeds, he forgot to check the math on his billion-dollar investment. Now, why would Ukraine risk a fleet of advanced drones for one parked airplane? Because the IL-38 Newtons is not just a plane, it is a flying data center wrapped in aluminum. If you look closely at the spy photos, you will see a strange, boxy structure mounted on the roof of the fuselage, right behind the cockpit. That is the NV-9 ELINT pod, and it is worth more than its weight in gold. This system allows the Russians to sniff out radar frequencies, track NATO movements, and hunt submarines deep beneath the waves. We are talking about a strategic asset worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and crucially, filled with Western microchips that sanctions have made impossible to replace. Losing one of these isn't like losing a tank. It is like losing a limb that will never grow back. The Russian commanders know this, which is why they parked it deep inside their own territory, behind layers of air defense, confident that their expensive toys were safe. But stay tuned, because the physics of destruction in the next 30 seconds is about to change the map of the Black Sea forever. 11:52 a.m., 18 kilometers out from the air defense zone. Inside the command vehicle of the $25 million Tor M2 battery, the radar screen suddenly lights up. Multiple bogies are inbound at 12,000 feet. The Russian commander, sweating in his heated cabin, barks the order to engage. Missiles streak into the gray sky, leaving trails of white smoke. Boom, boom. 2 direct hits. The crew cheers, high-fiving each other as the targets disintegrate. But here's the catch that the Russian planners missed. Those threats were not the Ludi drones. They were glorified model airplanes made of plywood and plumbing pipes, costing maybe $500 a pop. Ukraine has flooded the airspace with these flying pizza boxes, equipped with Lüneburg lenses, simple radar reflectors that make a tiny piece of foam look like a massive B-52 bomber on a Russian radar screen. It is a masterclass in economic warfare. The Russians just spent $200,000 in advanced interceptor missiles to shoot down a high school science project. If you were the commander of this battery, watching your ammo counter drop to 0 while shooting at toys, you would start to feel a cold knot of dread right about now. But while the Tor M2 was busy fighting ghosts in the stratosphere, the real danger was hugging the deck. The actual strike package, the jet-powered Ludi, was flying at an altitude of just 50 meters, or about 160 feet. This is where simple geometry defeats complex technology. Because the Earth is round, radar waves travel in straight lines and cannot see over the curve of the horizon. By flying this low, the Ludi is literally invisible to ground-based radar. It is hiding in the shadow of the Earth itself. The Tor M2, designed to track 48 targets, was staring at a blank screen because its physics homework was incomplete. And here is the genius detail regarding that Frankenstein interceptor. The Russians launched their Duran-Verba hybrid to chase the heat signature of the Ludi. The missile on its wing locked on, screaming towards the Ukrainian drone at Mach 2. But the Ludi's flight computer, the Skynode S, executed a pre-programmed terrain masking maneuver. It banked hard, diving into a dry riverbed. The Russian heat seeker, confused by the thermal noise of the frozen ground and the loss of line of sight, spun out of control and slammed harmlessly into an abandoned tractor. Ukraine just defeated a hypersonic interceptor with a map and a stopwatch. The airspace is now wide open, and the real show is about to begin. Inside the smoke-filled Tor M2 vehicle, panic has shifted to a premature party. The commander lights a cigarette, convinced the raid is over. Over the radio, operators boast about their kill, unaware they just blew up a tractor. It is the classic Russian fatal flaw, believing their own propaganda. But stay focused, because this arrogance is a death sentence. Thinking the sky is clear, they switch the radar to standby and stop reloading. They see Russia 5, Ukraine 0, not realizing the real game hasn't started. Little do they know, Ukraine has RSVP'd to this party. The real Ludi drone is skimming the treetops just 4 miles out. The acoustic sensors are actually screaming, detecting the engine. But here is the lethal error. Annoyed by earlier false alarms, the operators turned the sensitivity down. They muted the alarm right when they needed it most. The defenders are now blind, deaf, and out of ammo, leaving the Sea Dragon sitting like a duck in a barrel. The stage is set for humiliation. 12:15 p.m. Yeysk Air Base. The countdown to disaster has entered its final 60 seconds. The Ludi drone, having survived the gauntlet of sensors and missiles, is now skimming the perimeter fence at a terrifyingly low altitude of just 15 meters. If you were standing on the tarmac right now, you wouldn't hear it until it was practically on top of you. The base is buzzing with activity, fuel trucks moving, mechanics shouting, but nobody looks up. Why? Because the Frankenstein drone operators just reported a successful kill 10 minutes ago. The air raid sirens are silent. The SAM batteries are in standby mode. It is the perfect storm of human error and complacency. But inside the carbon fiber shell of the Ludi, there is no emotion, no fatigue, and no mercy. The Skynode S AI computer has taken full control. It is no longer receiving commands from a pilot in Kyiv. It is now fully autonomous, a fire-and-forget robot on a one-way suicide mission. As it crests over the hangar buildings, the target area comes into view. This is the moment of truth. A human pilot might panic. A human pilot might be distracted by the tracer fire or the adrenaline. But the Skynode S is simply processing pixels. Stay focused, because this is where the technology gets frightening. The drone isn't just looking for a plane, it is looking for the plane. On the tarmac, there are 3 IL-38 aircraft parked in a row. 2 of them are standard older models, valuable, but not catastrophic to lose.
Scanning.
The third one, sitting in the middle, is the IL-38 Newton Sea Dragon with the
Priority alert.
NV9 E-Lint pod. To the naked eye, they look identical from this angle. But the AI is running a real-time pattern-matching algorithm, comparing the live video feed with thousands of preloaded satellite images. It scans the fuselage geometries, it measures the shadow lengths, it ignores the first plane, it ignores the fuel truck. Then, it locks onto the telltale hump on the back of the middle aircraft. Target confirmed. Probability 99%. The drone makes a micro-adjustment to its flight path, lining up perfectly with the spine of the aircraft. There is no hesitation, no second guessing, just cold, hard calculus executing a kill order. The Russians on the ground finally hear the scream of the jet engine, heads turning in slow motion, eyes widening in horror as they realize the debris they celebrated is about to deliver a death blow. But it is too late for guns. It is too late for prayers. The assassin is already inside the house. Time to impact. 0. But here is the twist that makes this strike a masterpiece. The Ludi drone does not slam into the aircraft. That would be amateur hour. Instead, at exactly 6 meters 20 feet directly above the NV-9 ELINT pod, the proximity fuse triggers. The airburst warhead detonates. Don't blink or you will miss the physics of destruction. This isn't a Hollywood fireball. It is far more sinister. The explosion focuses the blast energy downward, accelerating 2,000 tungsten fragments to hypersonic velocities. It is effectively a giant shotgun blast fired point blank at the plane's spine. The result is structural Swiss cheese. The hardened fragments tear through the thin aluminum skin like a hot knife through butter. They don't just poke holes, they shred. In a fraction of a millisecond, the shrapnel storm penetrates the NV-9 pod. They smash delicate waveguides. They pulverize the gallium arsenide processors. They sever the fiber optic nervous system of the aircraft. Inside the fuselage, the cockpit becomes a blender of flying glass and avionics. The main mission computer, responsible for tracking NATO submarines, converts into a smoking pile of silicon dust. The fuel tanks eventually ignite, sending black smoke into the winter sky. But the real kill has already happened. The Sea Dragon hasn't just been damaged, it has been lobotomized. Its electronic brain is dead. Externally, the bird might look intact for a moment, but militarily, it is a corpse. The kinetic energy transfer was so violent that even if they extinguish the fire, this asset will never fly again. Russia didn't just lose a plane. They lost the ability to see in the Black Sea. And the most humiliating part? It was done by a drone costing less than the jet's landing gear. Stay tuned, because the final tally of this economic disaster is about to make the Kremlin weep. So, what is the final score of this winter morning duel? In modern warfare, we don't count bodies anymore. We calculate return on investment (ROI). And this is where the Russian war machine completely breaks down. Let's run the numbers like a Wall Street audit. Ukraine spent roughly $25,000 on the Ludi drone and maybe another $5,000 on the plywood decoys. Total investment, $30,000. That is less than the price of a mid-range Ford F-150. Now, look at the Russian bill. They lost an irreplaceable IL-38 Newton's Sea Dragon, conservatively estimated at $100 million, though its strategic value is basically priceless since they cannot build another one. They burned through $250,000 in Tor-M2 missiles shooting at cardboard boxes. They exposed the fatal blind spots of their acoustic sensor network. And they proved that their Frankenstein Verbadrones are just expensive lawn ornaments. If you do the math, Ukraine just achieved an ROI of 300,000%. If this were a stock trade, the broker would be a legend. But since it is war, it is simply a massacre. The lesson here is brutal. Russia is still fighting with heavy metal, trying to be the Goliath. They build big missiles, big planes, and big lies. But Ukraine is fighting with silicon and geometry. They realize that you don't need a sledgehammer to crack a nut. You just need a needle in the exact right spot. The flying brain of the Black Sea Fleet is dead, killed by a flying lawnmower with a PhD in physics. Russia brought a knife to a gunfight? No, worse. They brought a checkbook to a math test, and they failed. So I have to ask you, if you were the general, would you rather have the billion-dollar budget and the blind radar, or the cheap drone and the smart code? Let me know in the comments if you think the age of heavy armor is finally over, or if Russia can tape enough missiles together to fix this mess. And if you enjoyed watching a giant get taken down by a math nerd, smash that like button. Class dismissed.